children of the night. What music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Hello. Welcome back to Final Guys. I am Jason Brandt, joined as always by Jack Campisi.
Howdy, partner.
Chad Lutsky.
Hello.
And we are not dealing with Hunter Shea tonight.
Yes.
Woo-hoo. Yay! It's amazing. We won't have someone yelling at us, and we might actually get done at a decent time. I'm quite excited for this. Tonight we are talking about Sisu, the not horror movie, but some people say is horror adjacent because it is very gory. Very gory. So it's in the ballpark, and it's actually a movie that had money behind it, so I'm kind of excited to talk about it because it feels like it's been a while since we've done a movie.
We keep saying, if this movie only had some money behind it.
Yeah, we finally have one. So that is our main feature, plus all the other garbage we watched tonight. I actually, somebody sent me this. I was trying to read it before the episode. The Haunted Vagina by Carlton Mellick, but I didn't have time to get it done. So next week, everyone will have a review of the Haunted Vagina. All right. Wow. And yes, remember last week when I started getting real stuffy towards the end? I actually did get sick. So that was... It just like punched me in the face while we were broadcasting.
Okay, while we were talking, your voice just kept getting more and more.
Yeah, I got sick. I was sick all last week, so that was great. And fun times. All right, before we jump into the news, anyone have any announcements? No. Oh man, this is gonna be a short one. This is gonna be nice. I'm excited. All right, we'll do the drinking words here. Chad, you want to do the drinking words?
Sure, bring them up. Okay, for episode 319, without Hunter Shea. Tonight's drinking words. If you hear Jack say Tarantino, horse, or tank, take a drink. Jason says gore, mine, dog, take a drink. If I say stab, horror, women, then take a drink. And the bonus words are Nazi, gold, pick, and Sisu.
Beautiful.
Can we say Nazi?
I mean, it's not like I monetize most of these anyway, so we probably can. I gave up on that a long time ago. Hunter always says something insane that we end up getting demonetized, so I just completely quit. Not that it matters anyway, but... All right. It is time for the award-winning segment, The News. It's the news. Yay.
I'm so honored to be able to bring this vital news to you guys.
Oh, God.
Winnie the Pooh 2 has started filming. Blood and Honey.
That movie made enough money to get a sequel. Wow.
And this time it will include Tigger.
That which we all were wondering why it wasn't in the movie.
I thought that they weren't using Tigger because it was a Disney thing, not part of the Winnie the Pooh thing. So I don't know enough about Winnie the Pooh to know how they got Tigger. Maybe they're not calling him Tigger. He just has a tiger mask. I don't know.
Maybe they couldn't figure out good enough idea. I don't know. Or they couldn't do the special effects where he pounds on someone's face over and over again with his tail.
Hopefully. I mean, Tigger's... What is it? Tigger's bounce? Or is that's the Bumble from Rudolph?
No, he bounces on his tail.
Right, but the Bumble's bounce. That's the saying. Now...
Which of us watched that? I didn't see it.
I didn't.
Okay.
I did.
And it was not...
No, it was not
great. Okay.
However, to hold you over till Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 is ready, the trailers have dropped for 2 movies coming out October 3rd and October 17th. Mary Had a Little Lamb and 3 Blind Mice.
Man.
So the floodgates have opened.
Why?
I feel like if these were made in the 80s, they actually would probably be pretty good. They'd be packed full of gore with practical effects.
Well, yeah, you had to have a decent enough budget back then to actually make a movie because you had to shoot on film. So it wasn't guys going in their backyard with a $700 camera making.
This is
a movie.
true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Hey.
I stumbled upon another trailer that. What's that movie with the animated spider and the guy that Hunter wants to beat up and the strippers?
Glenn Danzig.
Glenn Danzig.
Veronica.
Veronica.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like it was channeling a little Veronica. It's called Bloodthirst. It stars Costa Mandalore or something like that.
Mandalore?
Mandalore, yeah. Robert Lasardo sounds like a name you might know, Jason. Well, the vampire queen is played by Tara Reid.
Okay.
After an apocalypse, only two tribes remain: desperate humans and the roving vampires that feed on them. Across the desolate west, John Shepard seeks the aging head vampire, hoping to destroy him and free mankind. This movie looks exactly like you think it would look.
When does this come out?
This comes out October 31st. You could watch this on Halloween.
That's all we need is for filmmakers to take to be inspired and influenced by Glenn Danzig's movies.
Jason, you should check out the trailer sometime because it looks like it's so bad it's good, except that it may be too deliberate. I don't know.
Okay. I see. I'm looking at it on IMDb here. Tara Reid is the vampire queen. That's an interesting choice. Costas Mandalore. Okay, yeah. Sure. Okay. We're stretching this week for movies.
Now, did you guys see Brightburn? I know you did.
I have not.
Brightburn's the one with the it's like the Superman story, except he becomes a villain.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn produced it. There's talk of a Brightburn 2 in the works because the H Collective is the company, I guess, that owns the rights, which I think James Gunn has a piece of. Anyway, they're interested in developing that IP, so we could get a Brightburn 2, which, if you remember at the end of Brightburn, they kind of teased other super beings in the world, including Michael Rooker. So
Really liked Brightburn. I have not revisited it yet, but what a cool concept. I thought that was a good movie. I really thought that. So I'd definitely watch a sequel to that.
I actually would like to see a sequel because I liked it, but I felt like when I watched it, I was like, I wish they had gone a little further with it. And so
I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some shit in that movie. It's been a couple years now. I'm surprised it's just now getting.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw that. I was like, oh yeah, it was like 4 years ago.
That's a while ago. Good movie though.
And the last piece of news is a positive piece of news. The trailer for Eli Roth's Thanksgiving is available online if you're interested, and Thanksgiving comes out on November 17th.
So does it have a grindhouse look to it?
The scenes look a lot like the things from the trailer, but it did not have the grainy look, I don't think.
I saw a little bit of the trailer on Twitter, and I don't remember seeing that either. It looks like a slasher. Sure. I mean, I think Eli Roth visually is a good director. I just hate how he just constantly delves into torture porn. So if this is just like a slasher horror movie, that'd be awesome.
If it has a good sense of humor, you're calling it Thanksgiving, and that trailer was hilarious. So,
yeah.
Not a Eli Roth fan, but I did like Green Inferno.
Didn't even watch it.
All right, that's all the news fit to print, my friends.
Thank you, Jack.
Alrighty. Quick and easy. I like it. I hear someone's bugs. It's a nice fall evening. Someone's window's open.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah,
Shouldn't be too loud.
It's ambiance. All right, we're jumping into some curation.
have such sights to show you.
Chad.
Yes.
Now
What was
all I
on
can
Tubi
hear
this
is the crickets.
Oh, dude.
Are you guys serious? I mean, they're not
Yeah.
even loud. Just pretend it's your tinnitus. Okay.
The production quality of this show is brilliant.
I mean, it's real. I mean, I must have a good mic, I guess. Okay. So the both movies are Tubi. Both are found footage. First one is Horror in the High Desert, Minerva.
Nice.
You guys know that I saw, and I know you've all seen both of these, or Jason, you haven't seen this one.
I will piggyback off you because this is one of my movies this week as well.
Oh, okay. Well then, I get. Well, this is going to be a short episode. You just mash up here.
Yeah, just
Okay.
do your usual thing, and I'll jump in after you.
All right. In the first movie, we watched people wonder where this guy named Gary Hinge disappeared to after he discovered and filmed a hidden cabin in Nevada. I believe it was. Both the first and the second are in Nevada, correct? The
Yes.
sequel basically sets out to ask if that event was maybe linked to a woman being found dead and another woman vanishing along the same remote stretch of highway in Nevada. While the first movie was it was a pretty slow burn, with the scares reserved for about the last 10 minutes of the film. The creepy footage in this one is sprinkled throughout, and in my opinion, a lot scarier and more entertaining. Like the first film, the acting is great, but it's the found footage clips that make this one so entertaining. There's some genuinely creepy footage here, I thought, and some of the locations, like the trailer that's out in the desert that's been moved so that the basement can be sealed up with cement, I thought was pretty cool and creepy. It's an amazing sequel. I really liked it a lot. Took an already good movie and made it better. You don't hear much about either of these, except for people who are actively searching for found footage movies and are stumbling across these. Other than that, I don't hear really people talking about them, but they're both definitely worth watching. I just turned my son onto it. I wanted him to see the second one first, but I was like, first one, yes, it's slow, but it'd really make the second one all that more special. And since they're only like 70, 80 minutes, it actually would make for a great double feature. The end of this one clearly is set up for a sequel, big time. And IMDb has a post-production listing for a third one called Firewatch, so I'm pretty stoked for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like this a lot too. My only complaint is, like the last third, the story completely changes to a different character, and I think I got up to go to the bathroom or something, and it took me like 30 seconds, and I came back in. I'm like, what's going on?
Happening? Yeah.
What is this? And then for the rest of the movie, I was like, what is happening? I don't understand who this is. So there's a shift, and I did not care for that, even though that segment of the movie is the scariest, and it's really well done. Story-wise, I was like, what?
It's like watching the 2 and then 2.5.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell? Like, and I asked Aaron, I'm like, is this the person? I'm like, no, that's a different woman. Like, what? Like, what the hell? So that was weird, but they do a really good job with the sound design in this. They're clearly setting up some kind of I don't even know how to say it. They're developing a story in the background that you're getting pieces of. Maybe a cult, maybe there's definitely some weird people. Like it's a cool mythos they're building, I guess is probably the way to put it. Particularly for low budget found footage that we found on Tubi, Yeah. They're doing cool stuff. These are the kinds of movies that we used to find on this show all the time.
Yes.
And talk about, like, every week we'd have 3 or 4 of these. Now it's like once every 3 months we find one of these. But this is good. This is good stuff. These are the kinds of people that I just keep making movies, man. You guys do interesting stuff. I dig it. And free on Tubi, I mean, you can't beat that. So I'm really looking forward to the third one. Just be ready for a change in what's going on in this movie that is weird. But it looks good. So, Jack, what you got?
I watched a found footage movie that I have seen before, but I heard the name and I was like, have I seen that? and I was like, I think I did, but I'm going to rewatch it. Savageland from 2015. Jason, I think when I start to describe this, you might remember me talking about this on the show a couple of years ago.
Okay.
It's like a documentary, whatever the fake documentary is called.
Mockumentary?
Mockumentary, like Spinal Tap.
Well, yeah, just not a comedy.
Sorry, Spinal Tap was a rockumentary. So there's this town on the border of like Texas, and one night, like the entire town like is murdered, like 50 something people or something are murdered all over town, and one guy is alive. He's got blood on him and stuff, and is like the fall guy for the murders. But then you learn that he had a camera. Don't show all these pictures.
Okay. I think I saw this, but I don't remember it.
He has a roll of film, and there's, I don't know, maybe 30 something pictures, whatever's on a roll of film. And he goes from, basically it tracks his journey that night, and the stuff you see in those pictures is kind of hinting as to what's really going on. And it's great. It's because as it starts to unfold, you're like, wait a minute, what's that? Oh my God. And there's no video footage of anything that happens. It's all photographs, interviews with people, the sheriff, this other guy, some of the townspeople or officials and stuff. So as soon as I start watching, I go, oh yeah, I did see this. And I'm glad I did. I watched it again because like I said, I forgot so much about it, but I appreciated it even more the second time. I was like, damn, for a movie that just uses black and white photographs to tell the story, it's actually one of the more creepy found footage movies you'll ever watch.
So, where'd you see it?
I'm pretty sure I saw it in Tubi.
Nice. Okay.
I did not pay to watch it.
Yeah, so you'll be happy, Chad. It's on Tubi.
Yeah, like I would put this as like one of the, if you're looking for something to watch, this should be like high up on the list.
I recognize the cover and I recognize one of those photos, but now I'm wondering, did I watch this or do I remember you talking about this?
I definitely talked about this, so I think you would, if I described it, you would start to go, oh yeah.
Okay. I feel like I watched this. Probably did, because anytime you guys find good found footage, I want to check it out. You guys are on a found footage tear the last 2 weeks. What the fall hit and now it's found footage time?
Oh yeah. I got another one up my sleeve for next week.
Okay. All right. What do you got, Chad?
Found footage over on Tubi. I watched.
What's happening?
I watched this because it came out this year, and I wanted to add a film worthy of being on the top 10. It's called Something Walks in the Woods. It's a passion project. Written, directed, produced, and stars Mr. William J. Howard III. The synopsis is: a video goes viral showing a mysterious figure walking along the edge of the woods each day just before sunset, and an amateur filmmaker sets out to spend a night there to find out exactly what it is. He goes and interviews the woman who lives across the street from this area that's kind of like out in the country. And so he goes out there, he sees it, sits in his truck around sunset, watches it, sees it, gets permission to stay the night on the land. For a passion project, this has got to be the best acting from somebody that's other than like maybe Mel Gibson or something. But for an indie project, the acting that this guy does is stellar.
Really?
For probably the first 20 minutes. It's up there with great footage or found footage, fakementary, whatever style films, with great acting like Mungo, Horror in the High Desert. And within those first 20 minutes, there's potential for a great movie. Now, before I go any further, this is one of those situations where the film is low budget enough that this this William J. Howard guy might be watching. So as Jason would say, please stop listening now. The first review on Letterboxd sums up Something Walks in the Woods pretty well by saying, something sleeps in their bed, it's me. Nothing happens in this movie. The setup is there, but nothing is done with it. We watch this guy talk on the phone, pitch a tent, build a fire, sit in front of the camera, and talk for way too long. All the while, very superficial scares happen that we've all seen before. Noises, what's that? His hunting cams that he's got set up around this area, this perimeter going off. Through 99% of this movie, there are only two actors. The main guy, who is really good, he acts his butt off, and then there's a woman he talks with at the beginning, but you never see her face, you see the back of her. There's no reason for that other than maybe she didn't want to be, I think it was his wife or something, or a friend of his playing that. But the last few minutes of this movie has some of the worst acting that you will ever see. It takes the whole town interview approach. Have you heard? No reason for this section whatsoever. No reason. One woman in particular with her little daughter. Oh, it ruined the whole any kind of credibility that the film had before that. Not sure why it's there. Now, I don't mean this as an insult, but honestly, this would be the perfect movie for a slumber party for a bunch of 10-year-olds. It's clean, and I can see it completely creeping out a basement full of preteens, giving them something to talk about all night. It'd be perfect for that because what few scares there are very cliche, not scary, and for the young, unjaded folks, it could work. But nice attempt, dude. Great acting. Cool build, and then just nothing. So I don't recommend it.
It's one of the things I love about found footage. Anybody can make a found footage movie.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they can be hard to maintain your idea throughout.
You will forgive so much if the movie's entertaining. If they take it dead seriously or they're being funny, whatever. As long as they take a big swing and they keep you entertained.
Mm-hmm.
You could give. So many of them don't. Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly me for any movie. If I'm entertained, I'm going to like it to some degree. Yeah, found footage, a lot of times they just run out of gas. I mean, they're like, oh, let's make a movie about this, it feels like. And then they get halfway through and cut over this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What the hell was the other thing? I watched 11/22/63, the show, based on Stephen King's novel, starring... God, why can't I think of his name? He's been excised from Hollywood. God, he's in all the Seth Rogen... damn it. He's in all the Seth Rogen movies. His brother... Oh, my God, I just lost it. Oh, he got Me Too'd to hell and back. He's never coming back. James Franco.
Oh.
James Franco is the star of this. This is, I don't know, 8 or 10 episodes. I can't remember. Really well made. Really well made. This is on Hulu, by the way. It's very close to the novel. The end, there's a lot happening that I was like, is this in the book or not? Because I haven't read it in so long. But I ended up looking up the ending to see how close it was to the novel, and it was spot on. So I don't, I'm assuming the rest of it is also very close, but just a great show. It's not what you would expect from King. This is much more of a thriller than any kind of horror stuff, but there's some amazing moments. I guess I just could describe it for everybody who doesn't know, but a guy finds a way to travel back in time through the pantry of a diner just by accident. That if you walk down this hallway, in this pantry, you go back to 1960, I believe. And he is talked into trying to stop JFK from being assassinated but the problem is he has to stay back in time for years on end, and he has to set up a life and figure out how to live, and he doesn't know who did it. He thinks it might be Lee Harvey Oswald, but he's not sure. So he starts tracking him, and he starts tracking other people, and it's just a really cool story. So if you're looking for a one-off show that there will never be another season, the story is complete at the end, and you have Hulu, 11/22/63 is definitely worth a watch. Very, very, very good show.
It's a series or just a movie?
It's a series. It's like 8 or 10 episodes. But the story's done. There's no more. There never will be. I mean, they couldn't anyway. James Franco is in...
We've got to bank this stuff up because with this writer's strike, we're going to be needing stuff to watch.
This is a really good one. I'm surprised it took me this long to watch it. It came out 7 years ago.
I heard the book is great. It's on a lot of people's favorite list for best King books of theirs.
It's a damn good book. I think it's one of those that he ended up finishing years or decades after he started it, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time, but very good book, very good series. Dig it. All right, Jack, what you got?
I could not wait to tell you guys about this. I discovered this thing that was a web series. The first one was called The Resonator, Miskatonic U. Then there's a second series called Beyond the Resonator. And then there's a third one called Curse of the Reanimator.
Huh.
And
okay.
Full Moon Features, I guess, took them and bundled them into, they're like 45, 50-minute movies now on Tubi that you can watch. And they are all, they're kind of like sequels to the, to like Reanimator and From Beyond. And they have the same color palette. They've got kind of like hokey special effects, but they're like cheesy, but also appropriate, kind of for the nostalgia of it.
Mm-hmm.
The only name you would recognize in this is Michael Parry from
the legend
Streets of Fire and Eddie and the Cruisers. So like when I started watching, I'm like, wait, I know that guy. At first I thought he was Dexter's father, but I was like, no, he's too young for that.
Oh yeah,
wait, it's Eddie and the Cruisers guy. So I discovered it, and then I got home like later on the later side. I was like, oh well, it's only 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I'll bang through one of them. I ended up watching two of them one night, and the next one. And when you watch it knowing that it was a web series, basically these students are at Miskatonic University, and the son of Jeffrey Combs's character, Crawford Tillinghast is the kid's name, is trying to rebuild the Resonator. And then at some point Herbert West comes into the picture later on.
This looks cool.
It's fun. Like I almost want you guys to watch it and then we talk about it at some point, because it's only, like I said, 3 parts, 45 minutes, 50 each. And like I said, like because it was a web series, you kind of give it a little more leeway, because you're like, oh, if you were watching this on YouTube, it's like watching those Batman fan films that they used to make. Like, you're like, damn, they should make a real movie out of this stuff. So it's a lot of fun. There's plenty of stuff to poke fun at too. But I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe I just stumbled upon this.
It was on Tubi.
Yeah, and you could. I think you could watch it on YouTube too. There's other places you can watch it.
All right, I've never heard of this.
Sounds like more an homage to, the Combs movies than it is to Lovecraft.
Yes, it's totally. They even they give Gordon a shout out at the beginning.
Nice.
So
right.
I was like, oh my god, I've got to get back and tell the guys about this right away.
It's hard to find good Lovecraft stuff. I'm pumped to see this. It looks, like you said, it looks good for a web series.
Yes, if you go into it with that, like it just lay back and have fun and enjoy it, because there's going to be stuff that you're rolling your eyes at. I would say this: I think the first episode is the horniest, but I think it gets a little bit better in the second episode.
Okay. All right, now I understand why you watched it. That makes
No,
more
it
sense.
does not go that far with any of that stuff, but
It doesn't go to Reanimator levels.
no.
Okay.
But there's a little that you saw in one of those.
Yeah.
But you
All
know
right.
how the Resonator is.
Of course. I'm expecting things coming out of heads. Chad, you got anything else?
Yeah. Tapped out.
Jack?
Oh, I have one more thing. Since Hunter wasn't here, I thought I read the next Jonathan Janz book in the Raven series, Blood Country. So I had read The Raven last time I read a book, and this is part 2. So basically, the first one is a few years after this virus has kind of wiped out the world. People had latent genes in them that some people were monsters, and so there's like vampires and werewolves and other things. So a lot of the regular humans are dead or hiding, and the first book was this adventure in like the neighborhood where this guy lives, and now in this episode, him and his band of friends have to go into vampire country, which we'll only get a little glimpse of vampires in the first one. They're kind of talked about more than you see. So this one, they go into the territory of vampires, and they have to try and rescue some of their loved ones from a kind of a stronghold that the vampires are holding. So again, I will say this is more of like an action adventure book in like a Halloween costume. It's like got the whole horror trappings. You have vampires and werewolves and other monsters, but at the heart of it, it's like it's almost like a D&D adventure. Like they're going across them, they're having an adventure, they're fighting things, they're going on quests, fighting. It's a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something, Jan's a great writer, and if you're looking for some vampire fun, give this a look.
He's a good dude. I like Jansen.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Messing with him when I was messing with him at Scares when I was in the Bigfoot costume still cracks me up because he didn't know it was me, and I was knocking his books around on his table and shit, and he was just like, "What is this guy doing?" He's a good dude. All right, if we got nothing else, man, we're flying through this episode. This is great. Let's jump into the main feature.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
You got a synopsis for us for the exceedingly simple Sisu?
I have a poem. I'm going to read it kind of like in the Ted Knight Caddyshack. Sisu's the name of this flick. That's a hell of a lot like John Wick. The hero is old, but still very bold. And the ass of the Nazis he kicks.
Beautiful,
Awesome.
man. Okay, well, what did you think of the movie?
Well, I saw this movie like in July.
Okay.
I was down visiting Morgan. We popped it on, and I enjoyed it. And like I told you guys, I was like, oh, this is like John Wick in World War II with an old guy. And it's pretty gory, over the top, kind of roll your eyes violence. That's just a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it. You know, I don't need to run out and buy the Blu-ray of it or anything like that, but I certainly enjoyed it for what it was.
All right. Chad, how much did you hate this movie?
I knew you guys were going to think that. Like there wasn't enough dialogue, too much action. This was a great movie. I mean, it was really well done. Lots of gore. Yeah, really well done. I recognized, that it was like, okay, this is one of those things. This guy is going to do stuff that there's no way that anyone could ever do. And so as long as you know that, and not try to take it too seriously, I thought it was John Wick with an old man in gold. And I'm not a big John Wick fan. I people were raving about it. I've only seen the first one, and when I did see it, I was like, this is what people are just going crazy over, But this I liked, yeah.
All right. I also liked this. I went on a journey with this movie, with the action. At the beginning, I'm like, okay, this is going to be John Wick in Finland against Nazis. And then it got more ridiculous as the movie went on. I was like, okay, this is too much. Like, this is ridiculous. That guy just got shot in the leg, and now he's sprinting while he's set on fire. I'm like, this is too much. But then it kept getting more ridiculous. And what happens at the end of this is so insane that I was like, okay, this is what they were going for. They weren't trying to make it, like, real at all. I'll get into it more at spoilers, but... And that actually made me enjoy the movie more when I finally got over that hump of this is just too unrealistic. Oh, no, they're not going for realism in any way, shape, or form here. This is something else entirely. It's like a legend of a story more than anything. So
Yeah.
I ended up enjoying this a lot, and I gotta tell you, the budget for this wasn't that high. I think it was 6 million euros, so what, like $8 million, something like that. Okay. It looked like it cost way more money than that. The production quality of this movie is extremely high. It was nice watching a really competently made movie. I quite enjoyed that. So it looked great. The cast is great. It's dead simple to follow. Dude's trying to get gold across country. Nazis are trying to get it from him. That's it. And the dude's a badass.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Quite simple.
I saw it a while back, so you guys are going to have to like bring up stuff and remind me of what happened. 'Cause I remember flashes. I remember the dog.
Yeah, the dog. We kept waiting for the dog to die for like the whole first half of this movie, because the Nazis were doing some pretty rough stuff, as you would expect. And I don't know. I don't want. It's not that there's many spoilers in this. I guess you spoil the action. I guess is what you spoil. So I don't know how much I should say.
Yeah, we could talk about spoilers. People in the chat who haven't seen John Wick are like saying that the John Wick references are going over their head. The only thing in common with John Wick is a super violent, over the top movie with really unrealistic results of violence. Like, it's like gets beat up, shot, stabbed, falls off of buildings, and then gets up and keeps going.
And they're both revenge movies.
Yeah.
Yes. Whereas John Wick, it felt like they kept trying to make it like a dude could do this. This movie lets go of that halfway through, third of the way through, and they just rocket ship off into insanity. Whereas the John Wick movies, it's like this is kind of stupid, particularly the last one. But it felt like they were still trying to make it that you could do it, but that is not this movie. And this is, a much older man doing this to Nazis, which was kind of cool. And the main guy, boy, does he have a grizzled, badass look to him. And he's in his 60s, and he was moving around like a beast, man. He looked great. So, great casting. I don't think I've seen him in anything before.
No, I've never looked him up.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So,
is this American made?
It can't be. There's no. I can't. Well, it said it was made with euros, so I'm guessing it's Finnish, but I didn't see. I can look it up though.
All right, let's get the spoilers because we're like sitting here dancing around.
Yeah.
There was some stuff in here that I hadn't seen before that I really liked. One scene in particular, when the guy's underwater and in order to breathe, he slits that guy's throat open and breathes through his neck. I love that.
Yeah, that was comic book stuff right there. I was like, wow, okay. That was the first thing for me when it was like, okay, this is going way over the top here. Like we're really, and then it just keeps going and going. When he's puts the rebar in his leg so that he can stay suspended,
so he can take a nap,
right? While it's hanging. It's like, wow, all right. and then it just keeps going and going and going. But when the plane crashes at the end, I mean, it just nosedives into the ground. And when he comes up out of the mud puddle, there isn't even debris from the plane left. Like, it's all gone, and he's perfectly fine. I was like, okay, this is some kind of legend.
It's like Looney Tunes.
I was under the impression that it was some kind of marsh, and that the whole plane was pretty much, a lot of it was underneath this, wherever he came out of.
Could be. I don't know. There was no wreckage, but
because grass and mud was the only thing that was even in the air when he hit the ground.
Yeah, the plane hit at such an angle. It's like, so I kind of just took it as like, this is a legend they're telling. Like, this man cannot be killed, no matter what would have happened to him in this movie. He cannot die, and that helped me kind of like roll with it better.
Some of his scars, like when he had his shirt off toward the beginning, it almost looked like he had this big scar across his chest. They only show it. It looked like one scar, and it looked like he had an autopsy at one point. I don't know if you guys caught that. It had like the Y.
Yeah.
And it looked like he had had an autopsy at one point, and I was like, is this guy supposed to be undead or something?
Well, at one point, he's washing out a cut he has with gasoline.
Yeah. His guts are about hanging out.
Yeah.
Well, he got hung and got out of that, so.
Yeah.
He got out of. He was immortal. That's for sure.
Yeah, he was immortal, so that helps.
Jason, did this live up to because this movie's getting a lot of buzz, and so I was like anxious to see it. For you, did you watch it and go, yeah, that paid off, or was it like higher or lower than kind of what you were hoping?
It was lower for me, primarily because I wanted it to be more realistic. So, like I said, it was really hard for me in the middle, towards like the last half, with the stuff he was doing, because it was so nuts. But like I said, the ending helped when I kind of realized what was happening. So, if I was making the movie, it would have been much more realistic. This grizzled old dude sneaking around Nazi camps, killing them and setting traps and stuff like that. Whereas this, he just turns into like a super hardcore R-rated Captain America, So I don't know. It didn't live up to my expectations, but it also wasn't the movie I was expecting. So I don't know if that's a fair
That's
rating.
weird that you and I are flip-flopped. I'm usually the one that has to have the realism and the fantasy stuff. I'm just not down with. And I can think of wasn't it you who really loved that? I haven't seen it, so I don't know what it's called, but it's got that Chloe girl in it, and it's something about an airplane.
Shadow in the Cloud. That actually,
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was getting a little of that in this.
Because Jason, you praised that thing a lot, and from what I hear, it's pretty
Shadow
outlandish.
in the Cloud?
Yeah.
I hate that movie. Well, I love it because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is not a good movie at all.
But it's an awesome movie.
It is shockingly bad. That is not this. This is beautifully made. That is no.
Yeah.
I get why you would think that, but yeah, no.
There's like shadows of that movie on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the over the top stuff. Nothing's going to be Chloe Moritz getting blown back into the plane in that movie, but
that's so stupid. But she was just a woman in that. You know what I mean? Like, had that had a scene like the end of this movie when you're like, oh no, this isn't just a guy. This is something else. That's not what Shadow in the Cloud was. She's just a chick who's kicking ass and surviving dumb shit.
Right.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it was just expectation. I wasn't expecting it to be as insane as it was.
Like, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to people, but it doesn't quite have that, like, walk into the office and be like, you got to watch this right away. But if somebody was, hey, should I watch this? I go, yeah, you should. Or if I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head to suggest to somebody, I would recommend it. But it didn't like become one of those like, oh yeah, drop everything and go see this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it is the best movie we've seen in a while.
Yes. I'm not even sure it's close. I mean, honestly, it's been a rough stretch. That's why I was just like, for God's sakes, we have to watch Sisu. Like, I have to watch something good once, just once.
So
Cobweb, I enjoyed Cobweb. But
Well,
other
look
than
what
that,
happened. The past couple of weeks, I watched some 2023 stuff, and none of it was like coming back to report and be like, I got a main feature for us. Chad did it this week. Like, we keep trying.
yeah.
when
Yeah.
are we waiting on? What the hell's the? Why can't I think of the name of the Hand movie? I keep calling it the Hand movie.
Talk to me. Or
Yeah, I'm guessing it's crazy expensive right now.
I'll look it up while we're talking.
I would love to do that. It's A24, right?
It is.
I think-
I'm not.
I think it's
I'm not
next week.
paying $20 to watch it.
So we at least have that coming up. Boogeyman, whenever the hell that comes out.
There's a bunch coming out. Thanksgiving.
I want to find the hidden gem that nobody's talking about.
I just want to find good movies at this point. Like, I don't give a shit if it's made $100 billion. I just want to watch good movies. Like, I'm so over it.
What do you guys know about Five Nights at Freddy's? That's coming out in October.
I've never played one of the games. People go crazy for the
Yeah.
games. I actually own a couple of them, but I've just never gotten around to playing them. But
There's a
people
new
go nuts
Stephen
for it.
King documentary called King on Screen that came out yesterday.
About how terrible some of the movies were. in
There's
the 80s and
actually something that we got to look into called Eight Found Dead that actually might be a good main feature candidate for next week. We got to talk about this. off
You know,
air.
Shudder has a lot of foreign films that we've been keeping away from, and man, I don't know, man. It's a very rare that I see a foreign film that's not great. Maybe we should start.
dude,
dipping
all
into
the
some of
Italian
those.
shit you watch.
No. That's not what I mean. That's not
I
what I
hate
mean.
all of that crap.
No. I'm not talking about I'm talking about like legit, subtitle foreign films.
I mean, if it's good, I'll watch it. I don't think people give a shit about foreign movies, but I like them.
Yeah, I like
I
them
don't know.
too.
But anyway, this was really good. They stretched that budget about as far as you can stretch a budget. There were maybe a couple of green screen shots when they were in the vehicles driving around with the tank that weren't great, but otherwise, I thought this looked phenomenal. The barren wasteland of from the Nazis doing a scorched earth policy looked phenomenal. The flashes of bombs in the background over the mountain range was amazing.
The landmines and that poor horse.
Oh my god, I can't believe I almost didn't mention the horse scene. That thing exploded.
Yeah.
And of course they have to do a slow pan across the guts. I mean, that thing is just in 1,000 pieces. Which is why I was expecting the dog to go.
Yeah.
And every time the dog was on scene, Aaron was like, "Oh, here we go. Here we go." And they just kept making you think it was going to happen. And they didn't. So, yay for that.
Yeah.
Talk to Me is $20 right now, $19.99. So
Yeah.
wait till next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
It'll
probably
go
watch it
down
and let you
before-
guys know.
It'll go
$20
down.
to rent?
Yeah.
That's so stupid. That's so stupid.
You probably get the DVD or Blu-ray pretty soon for half that.
Yeah, exactly. That's so stupid. So, I'm looking forward to that one. It's 8:49. Are we done?
This movie doesn't have that much to really dig into.
No. It's a guy's.
It doesn't. There's not a
running
lot
from
to talk
Nazis.
about.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one part that I laughed out loud where it's when the old man pulled the guy. He's going in, sneaks into the women's thing where all the women are inside, and he pulls the dude out, and then he pulls another dude out. And the first one he pulls out, the dude gets run over by something, and the guys in the motorcycle are like, "Is that one of ours?" And then they just keep riding, and then they throw another one, and they're like, "Is that so?" And they named him this time. They're like, "Is that so and so?" I started laughing. That was pretty funny.
There were lots of cool moments like that. Like they got the pacing of this right. He'd get in a battle, he'd get fucked up, he'd go somewhere and like fall asleep for a little bit and start healing himself up. Then he'd go get in another giant battle. They did great with that.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's really well made. I think, like I said, had I made it, I would have made it more of a real kind of thing. But we've probably seen that too many times. So I don't know.
So because this is not horror, at all. I don't even know if I'd call it adjacent. I mean, it is gory, but are we allowed to put this on our list?
I wouldn't put this on my list because
I wouldn't put it on my list, but
I'd put it on there before a lot of the crap that we've watched.
I don't
Oh, if
consider
it's
it
allowed.
horror.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
consider it horror. So, but we had to watch something good. So, mission accomplished. Alrighty, we will figure out next week, but we do have good movies coming soon. So, I think we're gonna have options.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I'm over it. The shit I'm watching on So Bad It's Good right now. I just did Battlefield Earth, man. I gotta watch good movies occasionally. I'm gonna lose my freaking mind. It's getting brutal. All right, anything else before we get out of here?
Nope.
That's it for me.
Under an hour, it can be done. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week, everyone.
See ya.